Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in this wonderful world. I greet you with honor, love, blessings to all of you who might listen to me. I am your humble host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers, as my shaman name, Native American shaman name. Now, the title of this here video here is maybe a little odd for some, and it's a little odd for me too. But here, the last couple of days, I've been getting some of my cosmic downloads, if you will, and it's like if you've watched any of my earlier videos, you've understood that I've known that I've had something to do since I was 11 years old, and I'll be 66 next Monday. And it's like, I've been on this path for a long time, and it's like I've been questioning the universe. Okay, what do you want me to do? What am I here for? What am I waiting on? It's like, okay, we all have a purpose, but well, now I was given instructions at the age of 11, and all these years I've been trying to figure out, okay, what is my plan? What is your plan for me, if you will? Okay, I know I've got something to do in this mess. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. Well, today, this evening, tonight, whatever, it would have been on the 18th. It seemed like it was sort of like, ta-da, this is why you're here. Okay. So rather than just meander around, I'm just going to go ahead and read this because I was instructed to use an ink pen and write this stuff down. It's probably backwards on the screen, but that's not the point. So first off, I want to thank you all for being here, and that the intention of this will be, it's in a couple of pages here, and I'll let you know what's going on. Okay. Now, first of all, I want to say happy birthday to my pops, Arno W. Null Jr., who passed away in 1999. He didn't quite make it to see the 2000, but the 19th, September 19th, is his birthday, and I just want to say I still honor my pops after all these years, 18 years almost of being passed away now, that I still honor and cherish him. And sort of in honor of his birthday, this being September the 19th now, I just felt it was like a fitting time to bring this, um, whatever I named this video. I'm having a little bit of a brain fart right now. So let me get into it. Um, I've been asked to speak on this as the School of Transitions, and this would be the mission statement. And you say, well, okay, Hawkeye, what you talking about mission statement? Well, what I mean is that it seems that, at the age of 11, I was given instructions that there was going to come a time in the future when I was going to have to spout stuff off and talk about spiritual things and things, and the people are going to call me pretty much nuts, and that, I just thought it had to do with spirit, and that was it. The way we die, blah 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 blah. Okay. Well, now it seems a whole lot more clear through whatever means is going on right now in this universe, and we are really getting bombarded for good energy and bad energy. But between the two of them, they're making changes to every single one of us on this planet, and in the solar system too. And some of these energy waves are coming from the center of the Milky Way galaxy, so the entire galaxy is getting showered, we'll say, with energy. Okay. Now, we've been discussing this. I've been discussing it. I've been relating other people's messages about these energies coming through. And this is what I've been told to write down. My calling, as I now fully understand it now, is to give all who will listen the basic information and understanding of the future of things to come. Hi, Marie. Blessings to you. So I wrote it down. They told me to write this down so I can't like goof off over here on the side. So I'm to give all who will listen the basic information and understanding of the future of things to come. Okay. Now, what I'm supposed to do, to do is to explain some of the complexities from moving from third dimension to the lower fourth and above, and some of the simple necessities of understanding how to get there. Okay. Also, my mission statement is to help folks to understand the value and wisdom of the ancients and how to utilize that source of energy for clearing the mind's eye. Okay. Now, one of the first things I'm supposed to explain to people is that people keep talking about ascension. And I keep getting these messages that are saying, y'all, this isn't ascension. Because what people think of ascension is like you're going to go from here and then ta-ding, you're going to like jump to somewhere else. And what we're going through right now and what is coming up in this very near future and for a few years to come is different than jumping. Okay. And I have been asked to use the word jumping. Okay. Because if you were to ascend, you would just be like standing here 1 minute and pop, you'd be somewhere else. This is not what's going on. Okay. What is happening is we are going through a transition. Okay. And in a lot of ways, yes, it does. We're going up the chain. We're going up the ladder. Well, doesn't that mean ascension? But it doesn't. We are in a transition phase. Now, there are a lot of people who are thinking ascension, ascension, ascension. That's one of the things that I'm supposed to help clear up. This is a transition, okay? I'm going to just give a small example. You're working in a factory and you go from sweeping the floors and dumping the garbage or whatever to working on a machine. Or now you've become a machine operator versus a material handler. Well, you still work in the same plant, but you have to transition into this new job. Okay. So you don't ascend to that job, you transition. All right. And this is where we're at. Okay. They're asking me to help explain to folks this is transition. Okay. I'm not going to beat the dead horse, as it were. Okay. So on with what they made me write down. And what they said was that, wrote down here, number one, transition rather than ascension, and the difference. And the difference is learning versus jumping. Okay. Either jumping off or trying to jump up, however you want to look at it. But they gave me specific instructions to use these words. Okay. We are all learning. Right, Marie, we're in school. But when we go into the lower fourth, we're going to be going into a classroom situation because we're going to have, they're saying we're going to have powers of manifestation, of psychic abilities and so forth. And so what we're being told, those of us who are listening, what we're being told is that there are going to be a lot of people who aren't used to any kind of psychic energy or hearing telepathy in their head or manifesting things or getting visited by orb beings or seeing into other dimensions. And it's going to creep and freak some people out. That's why it's not a jump. Okay. You're not heading up there. We are going to transition. We're going to see different phases, different colors, if you will, different light beings, different everything. So we're going to transition into this, okay? Not jump, all right? So just remember that this is all to help folks understand simple things, all right? Because there's so much other stuff out there. And yeah, it's kind of like, all right, we could debate this all day long, but this is what I'm here to try to clarify, not create an argument. Okay. Now, here's something that's probably going to rile some folks, but Quartz Quantum, hello, hello, blessings and honor to you. How to utilize, okay, right. This is number C, the value of the knowledge and wisdom of the ancients and how to utilize that source for clearing the mind's eye. Okay. Now, one of the things that I've been instructed to explain to people is that, it's really, really cool. Understand, I got it wrote down. Understanding who we are, where we've come from. And yes, it's very important. However, this is the clincher in this one, all right? However, where we are going is even greater still at this moment in time. I got to jump down to the middle of the bottom of the page because at this moment in time, learning our future and what the future holds for all of us spiritual beings is the key to this transition to the lower fourth dimension. Okay. So it's like too many people are wasting time trying to figure out where they come from. Well, it's the Anunnaki. Well, it's Enki versus Enlil, or Lucifer versus Jesus, or God versus Yahweh. What's important now is what we're facing, what's coming at us, because we need to be aware of this. All this is really good understanding, but when we hit the fourth, when we get these energies, a lot of our past is going to like ding, it's going to kick in. We're going to know who we were, where we came from. But right now, and I've spent several hours with this meditation just now before I'm becoming live. So this is like fresh in my brain, but they are really hammering me in the side of the head, if you will. Okay, in a good way. But it's that too many people are worried about, well, my ancestry is this and this. That's all really good, but we're kind of short on time here. And folks need to focus on what's important, and that's what's coming at us. And not necessarily, well, I guess in a way, it's sort of like a freight train. Now, depending on where you are on the railroad tracks, you might get smacked, smothered, crushed, or otherwise run over. But to the point, though, we all know that the train is coming, okay? What it means to each of us is different. Each of us has our own vibration, and we're supposed to. But each of us must attain a certain vibration in order to move into this fourth. Okay, I've discussed this before. So, but as part of this, this word manifesto keeps wanting to come out, but this is not a manifesto. This is a mission statement. This is a statement of how to help other people understand this, because it's going to be like a crash course, if you will. Okay. Spirituality is absolutely at the tippy top of this thing. I mean, it is what it is as far as moving forward. It's all about the spirit. It is all about our souls and our spirit souls, as I have discussed and other folks too. But that is the key. If you're worried about, well, the economy might collapse and I don't have enough gold or silver or something, you're absolutely in the wrong ballpark. Okay. Because if and when I still say if, because I've seen a few UFOs and orbs have crossed the screen and things like that, but I still say I'm from Missouri. You got to show me. Okay. But what is being downloaded to a lot of us is that what they're bringing to us is an entirely new paradigm. Okay. If you have a replicator, sort of like what's in Star Trek, are you going to need money? What if power is actually turned over to us and it doesn't cost us near as much as what they claim it does? I mean, just certain things, okay? Like, for example, we've had the technology to burn water as H2, HO2, I think it is. Anyway, it's hydrogen and oxygen mixed, but it ain't water. But you strip off one of the hydrogens. Anyway, it's called Brown's gas. All right. And a lot of technology has been, hydrogen gas. Okay. It's really easy to produce, and cars will run on this. It's just we're told we can't do that. We have to live off oil. Okay. So different things are coming. Lots of jobs are going to be happening. People are talking about AI and how it's trying to take over the world. AI can't take over the world. The people who program AI are trying to take over the world. But AI it's artificial. If AI ever becomes sentient, it's not AI anymore, by the way. So understanding who we are and where we've come from is important down the road. If you're still trying to figure out who you are, maybe they're telling me your focus is in the wrong place right now. Not to give up, but don't misunderstand me. It's that look for where you're going. If you're spending all your time, well, I really want to know if I'm Palladian or if I'm from Arcturus or something. That isn't important right now. Okay. It's important to know where we're going, because as these fourth dimensions and these new waves hit us and this new awareness comes to us, we're going to get some of our past. Boink, it's going to be there. What's going to be important is how we deal with that downloaded information of, oh my God, I really am from Pleiades, and my brother's name on Umpty Scrunch planet is named Bolgar or something. I'm making this up, but to the point though is like, what? So there's going to be a lot of stuff to swallow that we on this 3D planet in this realm, it's going to kind of freak our systems out. Okay. It's going to give a shock to us. So yes, continue finding out who you are, but look to who you might be, where you're going, where this whole paradigm is going. Okay. Now, one of the things that I continue to do, but I have to bring it up again as part of my schooling, because what we need to do is, Tinfoil Hatter, hey, how are you? Rick Delaney Jackson, hello. Blaze Paranormal, hello. How are you all? My birthday's is on the 24th, but this is the 19th was my father's. Actually, he was my uncle, but I call him Pops, and his birthday was the 19th of September. So I am, this is a belated, I know he's still out there, and I honor him on the 19th of September to honor his birthday as a remembrance. So, but anyway, thank you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, for those in tune and of higher frequency beings of other realms are going to start making themselves known to regular normal folk, okay? And because the frequency of the planet is changing, we're right now, the Schumann resonance, I checked it a couple hours ago, we're sort of in a little bit of a lull. The last week or so, last 10 days, has been fairly active. Now, we're also getting some solar energy coming out of the coronal hole out of the sun, which always speeds up the magnetism and everything. Also, that thing that happened in Sunspot, New Mexico, about almost 2 weeks ago now, it has to do with what was seen coming out of the sun. Plain and simple. They sent a mothership as a backup to the bad guys here on this planet, and it was met with a bunch of other folk waiting on them to show up. And it was a space battle, a space war, if you will, that was captured, and a lot of people saw some of it. And the reason this has been all weirded out and hush-hushed and FBI was, number one, to not let it out, but at the same time make enough of a, what the hell did these people do to make everybody look? They're saying, don't look at what they saw, but look at what they didn't see, and we can't tell you. Do you get that? Don't look, everybody's gone. Why did they do that? Ooh, all the solar observatories were shut down. No, they really weren't. But that is a special instrument, by the way. and that, whoa, they probably had some pictures some of the other solar observatories didn't have. They had to try to squash it somehow. So the best thing to do is to, like, okay, everybody, out of the town for a week, take a vacation and have a little sit down chat. Now, instead of taking away from what went on out in space, it just made everybody want to look closer. So you got to wonder, they could have handled that differently, right? Regardless of why they sent him out of the town for 10 days, something fishy's up. So everybody on the planet now knows it's fishy. So you got to wonder, did they do that on purpose? Just saying. Now, I'm here to give you a different point of view. Am I correct? You be the judge. I'm not trying to cram what I know down your throat. Heaven forbid. But I do want to spark your interest, and I want to spark your thinking, okay? Because that's what we need going into this. We need to be aware, and this is on the next page, by the way. We need to be aware of other people's experiences. Now, what they told me is we are to share our experiences. Get this, though. This is the big caveat. Without prejudice to others who are trying to understand themselves. Now, I have an addendum to this. Let me repeat this one more time. All of us are to share our experiences without prejudice. So I'm going to tell you my story, but I'm not going to say my story's better than yours. That's the prejudice part, okay? I'm just going to relate what I know, relate what I have picked up, seen, or whatever. I'm just going to tell you, all right? Without prejudice. I'm going to do my best to say, well, I think Inky Schmuck over there is a stupid moron. Ain't going there. And none of us should do that, okay? If your experience is one that is just so outlandish and so weird that no one else has ever experienced that type of thing, okie dokie. Now, there's something else to go along with this, is that because of all the entities that are in the earth, all right, all the, let's say, lizard type thingies, all right, that literally live in the earth, not in Middle Earth, but in the earth between, okay, in the mantle, if you will. All right. Now, the big thing we all need to understand is, like, the number one thing is the universal law. Do no harm to any other being, period. All right. I mean, all of the 10 commandments fit into this one galactic rule. Do no harm to any other being, period, on any realm, any dimension, seen or unseen, doesn't matter, that we do no harm. Now, if I walk across the grass, I could be doing harm to the grass or something. We got to be a little bit more diplomatic than that, okay? However, we can understand that when we walk on the grass, that we could do harm. There's a big philosophy in that. But to the point, though, our awareness of who we are, what we are, and what our impact on this planet and in other realms, okay? Because a lot of us, we squeal and whine and bitch and moan, but we have no idea what those negative vibrations are doing to the universe. When you understand that, oh my God, I cussed that son bitch out the other day. He pissed me off and I shot him a bird and I did. Oh my God, what you're sending into the universe. And a lot of us can stop that mess just by going, oh crap, what am I doing? Awareness of what you're doing, awareness of how we speak to others, to the universe, even to ourselves. Now, I've spoke on this before, and I'm going to do a totally separate video on speaking in the positive again, because I've noticed that folks are speaking in the negative. And it's like, how can you raise your vibration if you continue to speak in a negative tone? Now, we can speak about negative things, but we don't have to beat things up. I'm not going to get into it now, okay? Because this is more about what I'm supposed to do in teaching this, okay? Now, I hate to bring this up, but they keep telling me, all right. So here you go. This is 10 cents worth, all right. I even got to light a cigarette for this one. There are many people. Now, first, I got to say this before I say this next statement. I am not picking on anybody, okay? I am not. I promise I'm not picking on anybody. This is not prejudice to someone else. However, they have told me, and I've been listening to other folks too, and this message has been coming across. So I'm repeating the galactic, cosmic kind of concern, if you will, as to what's going on. Now, it has to do with this. It has to do with some folks discussing themselves being star seeds. Okay. Now, this is a really tricky subject. One of the first things that I try not to do is put labels on things. However, there are folks out there, and we must be careful because they could very well be picking up false memories. I wrote this down, okay? I even put false memories. I underlined it, okay? False memories, because these folks are telling me, all right, there's some folks out there who are confused simply because they're, let me read this, false memories of starseed beginnings is a result of wishful thinking and speculation and personal desires of the person, which muddy the visions of past things which relate to the now. So in other words, you sit down and meditate on something. Well, there could be something that's clouding it. How long have you meditated on this? I mean, I'm 66, I've been meditating on this since I was 11. You figure out the math. So there are still things I'm like having not necessarily issues with, but I still question. I'm like, are you sure this is right? Are you sure you want me to say this? Are you sure I'm on the right trail here? And then I get my little angel messages and things that go, yeah, here you go. And I always, before I speak, I always check these things with 3 other sources, and the messages are all coming in the same. Okay. So it's not just me. This is like a lesson plan that's being downloaded to some of us here in this 3D world. And I realized tonight, I mean, it smacked me in the head. It was like, ding. Okay. I'm just part of the lesson plan. That's all. Some of us understand certain things and other folks don't. And it's not that you're wrong. Now, there is some of this that I got to say I am correct about. And that is because of the things that I've discussed that, that rocks are alive and trees are alive. And those things are true. And if you wish to argue with me about that point, then you got to go back to school. That's all there is to it. There are certain things that are key. All right. And if you don't have these certain core key things, argue with yourself, because you can't argue with me, because when you do, you're arguing with the universe and with Mother Earth, etc. Okay. This is not Dave's rule. It's the rule of the universe. All right. Got to make that perfectly clear. Okay. So, yes, I understand it, and yes, I wish to communicate it, but if you wish to argue me the point, we don't have time, all right? Now, we're all going to look at this in a different way. We're all going to process a little bit differently, but if you stick with the key points, do no harm, well, that means not cussing out the guy that pulled out in front of me, or you know what I mean? So you got to really take this thing down to a minute degree in order to understand it. Now, if you want to just fluff it off the top and go, well, it's okay. Well, I sort of get it. You're gonna be in kindergarten a long time, and that's what they're saying, not my words. Okay, but it makes sense. The more you want to resist that Mother Earth is a living being, the more you wish to resist that orbs and other entities don't exist. The more you push against it, the harder it's going to be. Okay. So that's just basically how it is. All right. Now, So we need to share our experiences, but we need to be kind to others. However, here's the caveat with the muddied water thing. There are folks who, oh, I'm Palladian. And it's because they've heard, read, listened about Palladians, and therefore they wish to be that. In a way, there's nothing wrong with that, okay? But they might really be Arcturan, or oh, I can't think of but anyway, to the point, they might be of another group, there's nothing wrong with that. However, to go about trying to project who you think you are versus where you're really from, okay? So just be aware of that. I try not to say that I have anything to do with Pleiades, but since as far back as I can remember, I've always known it. But I just don't go around spouting it. I got blue eyes. Okay, okay, fine. That's not what's important to me. What's important to me is that I know I am a star being. That's what's important. I know that spirituality is important. That's what I know. I know that service to others versus service to self is the key. These are certain basic truths. And it's like, go for the simple things. Forget about all the technical jargon. Go for the simple things, because everything else isn't going to matter. I mean, whether or not your cell phone works or 5G, that isn't going to matter now in what is future coming in for us as beings who are transitioning into this new phase. Okay. I hope I'm making some sense. I'm not going to read the chat because you all know me by now. If I read the chat, I'm going to get sidetracked. And I'm trying to get through my little speech here. It's only taking me 30 minutes. But to the point, though. But I thank you all. I love you all. I think you know that. I value your opinion and so forth very much. I really, really, really do. And it seems like I've always been a teacher. I mean, I've taught drafting classes. I taught 3D CAD to folks, in the university systems here in the state of Georgia through a co-op program with the company I work for. And anyway, I've taught theater. I've taught drama. I've taught public speaking. I have been a teacher a lot of times as a puppeteer and a storyteller. I've taught thousands of kids how to make puppets, and how to think and how to be artistic. So I'm not new at this teaching thing. However, I'm new at this particular subject, if you will. Okay. So, but like I say, if I have to check my sources, I got to check and make sure that I get this information right. But technically, the information is really very basic. So there are a lot of folks, and I love them. I do. I say this for everyone. Don't get off track. Oh, but I'm a star seed from Lyra. What's that going to do you about tomorrow? Is your frequency any higher because of that? No, because you're still searching about who you're from. Like I said, at this particular moment in time, and they made me write it down, it's more important to see our future. Maybe I am Palladian. So maybe the Palladians are going to come down and help me out here. They're going to help me to remember who I am. Okay, if I'm not Palladian, okay, spirit guide, give me a sign of where else it might be. Because I've questioned my Palladian background. And I said, okay, give me another sign. The only other one is Orion. However, Pleiades beats out 10-1 over the Orion Nebula in my particular case. But in somebody else's, they might be drawn over here, the Sirius, or Sirius, or some, Betelgeuse, who knows? But to the point, though, it's like, it's more important as what's coming, not what is behind us, because there's so much mud in the system. Okay, just be aware of that. And the other thing is, and I keep getting this vision because I talk about the Red Road, and I talk about it in terms of it being like a South Georgia clay road. When it rains, it gets muddy and you get stuck. Okay. So, and they keep sending me this vision of people getting stuck. And it's like, And it's been brought up in other discussions of other folks I listen to, programs, etc., that people are getting stuck in the mud. In fact, it was even brought up tonight. And I was like, what? And they're saying, yeah, there are a lot of people who are stuck in their paradigm, who are just like waiting for something else to come, but they keep rehashing the same thing over and over in their head. They're not trying to look forward into what else might be available. They're still like sleeping with their cell phone. I mean, it's like, if you really understand this, then shut your damn cell phone off. Quit using blah, blah, blah. But they're not. They're just still talking the same stuff they did several years ago, some of them 10 years ago. And other folks are noticing this. I've mentioned it, and I respect these people. I've learned from these folk, but then I look over like, hey, at least we should be like keeping up with each other, kind of understanding. But these people are really stuck in a rut. And that, and some of the galactics are going, shame on you guys. You forgot the first rule. Keep an open mind. If you don't understand something, it's like, oh, wait a minute, that's out of my paradigm. I can't handle that. Well, then never mind. What you have to do is just at least be aware and go, well, I don't know if that's true, but what the hell? I'll give it a little chance, but I'm going to be aware that something like that is very possible. For example, that orbs exist. Well, the video on orbs proves it to me, and a lot of other people who called me, spoke to me and went, Dave, I can't believe that shit. There was an orb that came in on your screen. I was like, I get it. I know. Kind of creepy, ain't it? But at the same time, it's like, but you know what, though? That is our reality. That's why I can speak to this way, because an orb crossed my screen, okay? That's my proof to you, folks. Yes, these things do exist. This new paradigm does exist. Now, I can't give you the exact details, only that it's going to be different. Only that we need to look at ourselves as to what is really important. Well, I should buy silver because I'm scared to death that there's going to be then you're still stuck in third, okay? If you're worried about a new car, you're stuck in third. If you're worried about a new house, you're stuck in third. If you're worried about anything new in this paradigm, then your frequency is wrong just because of that. It's not my rule. It's the rule of the galaxy, of the universe, It just is what it is. So I know that I've been a hoarder for years. I love to collect shit, rocks, crystals, odd pieces of artwork, clumps of dirt from North Georgia or something. I mean, okay. But to the point, though, I realize that that I have this issue. And I've been doing my best. I've been giving things away. Like, I really like that rock, but I can't take it with me. And there's somebody in this 3D world that's trying to understand rocks. And they felt some type of affinity to this particular crystal that I had. And it's yours. Take it. It's like, I got enough crystals, even though that was like a favorite. I'm supposed to pass this on. It's not about me being, yeah, there's certain crystals you probably have to pry out of my cold dead hand. But to the point, though, I even realized that some of those, if in the right situation, I must turn them loose. I must give them to someone else. So it's like, this isn't about me. It's about what I can use in this life to help other people, to help myself to help other people, because I realize that my entire journey has been to understand this ancient wisdom, to understand these core basic things. And then the ETs got in touch with me and said, hey, you seem to be on the right track here, Hawkeye. We would like your help. And this year is 3 years ago, I believe, that I was in Ohio when I had the wonderful, communication with the ET and the ethereals there, etherics. Some of the Fae, not necessarily the fairy group like you would think, but of a etheric type realm anyway. A lot of other beings in there that folks don't realize. But anyway, A lot of them don't want to be known, but elves a different kind. Okay. So I realized that this evening when I got this downloaded message that your task is this. It's clear. Now, do I have all the information? No. The point to this exercise with this um, school of transition is that I'm going to be learning it too. They're giving me information through my meditations, through things that I've already experienced in this life and in my shaman walk, if you will. They're bringing these things back into my brain and going, this is why you learned that. Oh, holy crap. Oh, that's why you had me thrown into a cold river and damn near die of hypothermia to understand how to stay warm when it gets cold, that I have the power within me to not freeze to death. Oh, 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 oh. That was a hard lesson to learn, I tell you. I mean, it's like swim, tink, and then you go. But anyway, that's pretty much what happened. So it's like, okay, so it's about school of transition. How do we all get there? How can we, through speaking with each other, through our chats, through the sharing of memories and experiences, how do we all get there? The easiest way possible, without a lot of bullshit, okay? Because that's part of what's going on now. They're saying, you got to quit with the crap. Oh, I got to have this, and I got to have that. No, why don't you just sit down quietly and meditate? Do other things help you? Yes. But let's get to the core. You yourself, me, you, all of us. What's going to be so interesting is that with this new reality and how we learn how to manifest, we're going to learn that we don't need a crystal or a prayer or a cantation or a candle or anything. All we're going to have to do is just close our eyes and meditate on it, and we can make it happen. That's going to be a trick. So people who are using all these other things, and trust me, I was one of them. Oh God, I've got so many different things for ceremonies, and they've taught me that, you know what, that's all really fine and dandy, and it has its place. But on a day-to-day basis, do I have time to go out and in the grass and light a fire and do all these ceremonial things? No. But I can do one fire and take my memory back to that fire, use the fire that I've already had as a focus point, and continue that prayer, thought, ceremony months or even years after the fire or after that particular ceremony, because I can tap into that knowledge I attained then and that frequency if I remember it, and I use it now and going forward. I hope that makes some sense a little bit. I know it's a little bit convoluted, but to the point though, it's like, quit worrying about all the little things in between. Realize that we are spiritual beings, realize who we are, realize it's a lot more simple than some folks are going to give you credit for. And a lot of this hooey, religion's going to go out the window. This isn't about being a cult. This is about just being a being. I am what I am. Popeye the Sailor, right? All right. Now, that's pretty much what's out there. They're giving me instructions, kind of sort of as I speak to you right now, in that there are going to be particular topics to come up, sort of like what I do already. I'll pick a topic on patience, or I'll pick a topic on the wisdom of the ages, or whatever. They usually give me a pretty good couple of days of dreams or memories or whatever to have a conversation about it, because it seems to be important in the grand scheme of things. Okay, so I want to read your comments, and I that I do my best. I'm not trying to ignore you, I swear. I know I never wanted to get this old, needing these goofy ass looking glasses just to read. I'm buying it at the freaking food store. I agree with you, tinfoil. Paranormal, yes, beep beep, y'all. But there's no black budgets or anything. There's no underground technology or anything. No one's that smart. Well, I don't know about that part, but you know, I think I'm safe from any sensible, reasonable, civilized aliens as long as we got crazy ass pigs with guns. Well, that's one of the reasons why they haven't landed yet. And that's one of the really big things. They're starting to make their presence known, ET. It's because they don't want to, and it's not just rednecks. I mean, I know some rednecks, good friends of mine, and they would like, as long as they don't point that damn ray gun and want me to bend over like a pig, Suey, I'll be cool with it, But anyway, but to the point though, it's like, ET's worried, they're going to try to come down and teach us something, and somebody's going to want to pop a cap in their ass, and it's just like we can't, we really can't go there, okay? Professor Schamenstein. That's a good one, tinfoil hatter. Uh, let's see. Happy birthday, Marie. I got a couple more days to go. I'm an Aries. I'm used to crash course. Uh, Rick, greetings. What'd you miss? I had to go all the way back up. Um, yeah, the equinox. Yep, it's coming up. Is it equal? I heard the Schumann residence is vacant. It's a seasonal residence. Okay, yeah, that's very possible. Yes, they are coming. I mean, I've seen them. Now, it's very strange that ever since I reported my last UFO sighting, by the time I go out in the early mornings, like, it's almost 4 o'clock here, Eastern Daylight in Southwest Georgia. And so it's like, I go out in the early morning, check the stars, moon stuff, and I do my little check of the of the cosmos. I can't see the stars. There, it's like, I saw Saturn up earlier with the moon, and it's like, well, that was curious. So I went out to see if there were any other stars, thinking it was clear enough. There's too much haze, too much chemtrail crap. You know what I'm saying? Just a very high haze, no clouds, just this blanket of haze, very high up. Okay. All right. As far as getting old, yeah. I mean, I'm glad I'm turning 66. I never thought I'd make it this old. I've outlived a couple of relatives already. I mean, as far as my grandfather, he died he died at 66. But anyway, so always being fascinated on stories being told, but I'm aware that also demons can masquerade as light. So I'm curious as well as to how to communicate with us. Absolutely. And I think I've discussed this before, but I will bring it up again, that they're going to change the dollar store to Lincoln store. I don't know. They might have to change it to Hamilton or something, but you get my drift. Thanks for reminding me it's about what we want and not anything else. Well, yeah. At best, I could be called a slight worker, nothing more. The New Age is so 20 years ago. Exactly. And there's some folks who are, it's like, and we have to be patient with these folks, because some of them are like just starting out now. And there's the wake up call or whatever it is. Maybe they've taken half a red pill or something, or they didn't take their blue pill and it's wearing off. You get my drift. But to the point there, when they just starting out with this stuff, it's like they're being drawn to this, the New Age thing. And this is really so far beyond the New Age. It's like the newest age or something, because this new age, this newer age that I'm speaking of, doesn't have a lot of crap in it. It's just you and the universe, Okay. Yes. Okay. There are other ways to get there and helpful things along the way. But to the point is like, don't get caught up in the frivolity of this thing or the BS of some of this, quote, the New Age stuff that's been around for 40 years. It's like, but some of that is relative. Meditation is relative, all living things. I mean, so some of the New Age stuff is okay, but some of it is just repetitious bullshit. And it's just as bad as any religion, because they've got you caught in some kind of a paradigm. And this ain't about that. It's about getting rid of all of that, all of the trappings. Uh, Saturn's going to be around for a little while longer, because of Jupiter, Saturn in a position, and they're further out than Mars is. So they're going to be a little bit more stationary, along with Neptune. And oh, I love Uranus, but you know how that goes. So whatever it is, I don't see how astrology can mean anything except in geocentric cosmology, if you know what I mean. Well, one of the interesting things that's being proven scientifically, because of the electric universe theory, that there is a lot more to astrology than was ever really given credit to. And there could be, there are different types of astrology, so you got to kind of work it out. But I mean, the fact that I was, when I was born and all this other kind of stuff, there is a pattern in me being Libra / on the cusp of Virgo, and all of the troubles I've had in my life has been arguing between the Libra and the Virgo, who don't really get along, even though they're like side by side. So, internal battles, blah, blah, blah. But I'm also always seeking a balance. That's the Libra part of me. So, okay. There may be no golden fleece. Yeah, Jason and the astronauts. Yeah, and the Argonauts. By the way, that was one of my favorite movies back in the early 50s, or late 50s. Stars in same pattern every year. So it can only be a flat Earth cosmology. Sorry, Stephen. It's not in the same place. The stars are moving. They're separating. I've discussed that Polaris has moved up at least 20 degrees in the last 2 or 3 years here in South Georgia. Other people have related it also. So that means that we are changing. The constellation of Orion is larger than it used to be, which is significant because we've been told we've been moving towards the Orion Nebula. I'm sorry, towards the Orion constellation. And so it's like, well, this is kind of fitting into cosmology, and it really doesn't prove flat Earth. That's just my disagreement. You named yourself an Arcturus about 18 years ago. The thing is that we're all getting muddied information. Even myself. That's why it's like, okay, I believe you. But when I meet my family from the Pleiades, I'm really going to believe them. But okay, I got this thing in the back of my head, but I'm not going to go around and go, I'm David Null, Pleiadian. How are you? Not there. Okay, I don't see any stellar parallax. I would think there'd be evidence over a long time. We live such short lifetimes down here. Yes. So, but in my 66 years, I have noticed changes and have documented some of these, at least in speech, that I have noticed the changes in the constellations, how they've moved, where they're positioned, and also the time of year. It's like, well, September of last year, I could see this star out, that constellation out through my window. Now it's lower in the sky and it's a month late. Are we changing our position in the cosmos? Absolutely, because we're in constant motion. And I don't trust the NASA either. But I trust what I can see out my back door with binoculars and telescopes. That's my observation. Has nothing to do with NASA. It has to do with my observations on my piece of property. Just saying. And I got videos though where I go through that. But anyway, but to the point though, it's like, yeah, I'll look at their stuff, but at the same time, mine is visual because I want to see it. Okay. I think there must be spaceships in some secret space. There is. I've seen too many of them and just appear out of nowhere and zigzag back and forth across the sky and then head towards Jacksonville. Yep, that's what it looks like from here. The thing about criminals tinfoil is this. There's going to reach an awareness where they're not going to want to steal. I know that sounds a little weird, but they're going to lose. Folks are going to understand that we're all in this together, brother, sister. And it's like, why should I steal from you? I mean, when they're going to have a realization that, wait a minute, necessities will help being taken care of. And we're all in service to others. So You help me, I help you. We help each other. It's like the old barn raising days of the old days. And I'm old enough to remember some barn raising days, okay? And so it's like families got together for a whole weekend and put up a damn house, or I say a house, a barn, shed, whatever, But to the point, though, it's like when we quit seeking everything for ourselves and stop being so selfish, it's going to, there's just, things are just going to pop for some folks and go, dang, I lived all this time like that. Anyway, best way to make us ignorant is by ignoring it and send missions out further to explore deep space and then find the gods have already been there and the evidence in the myth are just fairy tales. Well, the thing is that the myths are legends. The myths are true. I mean, just look at the pyramids. We can't make the pyramids today. All right. So the ancients, going way back, okay, the gods, the whoever and whatever, they had technology. I mean, there are spaceships in the hieroglyphs. Come on. Have you ever seen that little spaceship thing that it was a gold thing? They thought it was like a toy and it looks exactly like some kind of a space vehicle or something. They even made a mock of it and it flew. I mean, okay. And this is like 4,000 years old in Egypt. Okay, how did they get that concept? The Vimanas and the laser beams. Okay, what about the glass that's buried under the sands in the Sahara Desert, where there was huge atomic type explosions way back in the day? So the things that people think are like, no, the face on Mars is real. We've already been to Mars and back. I mean, all this stuff about rockets and stuff. We've had anti-gravity since the 50s, okay? I mean, the Germans were working on it in the 30s. So all this stuff about, oh, well, we got to this, it's all bananas. It's all BS. It's all cover for what they're really doing. The secret space program, they got stuff y'all just think, you're just going to go, I can't believe this. It's going to be it's going to be hard for people to swallow this stuff. When they find out that the gods were ancient aliens, really, and there really were giants on this planet, even the Bible and Genesis, there were giants in the land in those days. Well, I thought Adam and Eve were the only two people, they got kicked out of the Garden of Paradise, but there were giants there. What the hell? So the stories for Shugana, a Yiddish term for Shugana. But anyway, so it's like, oh, what do you want to believe here? So that's why the Galactics are saying, quit worrying about the past right now. Worry about what your future is going to be, because that's more important. Then you'll pick up the past when you get there. Anyway, so read down some more, and I would have kept all my collections and more if only I could have stayed anywhere. How much longer, Dave, going to hold that? You see, I'm trying to quit. And so if I wave it around a lot, I finally got that, the sun and the moon are the racetrack coming out of the curve in our horizon. So very southwest is setting. So I've been watching the elliptical. Yep. And right now, because we're going in the, on the 23rd is the first day of fall, which is the fall equinox, or the autumnal equinox, meaning equal day, night, equal time. And it has to do with simply because the earth is already tilted. It's not that the earth is tilting, it's that it's positioned to the sun. Where the northern hemisphere is either closer to the sun or further away simply by our tilt. So anyway, but we're going into the autumnal equinox. I think it's a waste of time to prove flat earth. I just, people, that's part of the thing, Quartz, is that we're wasting times on things that really don't matter. People would rather you argue about flat earth when it's like, okay, so you don't believe it's a globe. Okay, so don't believe it. All right, fine. But do we all believe that we're spiritual beings? Do we all believe there's something up there? Now, those folks who believe it, some of the folks in the flat earth community believe there's a dome up there and that those are all light fixtures. I'm sorry, I just can't get there. Okay, maybe we're a flat disk, but those are real planets and stars. All right, I could buy that better, but they try to make me believe that there's a dome over the earth and that those are just lights sitting. I can't buy it. Sorry. Maybe just the flat earth, but all the other stuff, nah, sorry. But to the point though, why are we worrying about this? Why are we like stumbling over this and cursing each other out? You're a globalist and I'm a flat earther. Stop it already. That's the folks up there are looking down, going, "You pitiful sons of bitches." I'm sorry. That's what they're looking down, going, "You people are more stupid than I thought." What difference does it make? You know, can a spaceship land on a flat Earth? Does flat Earth preclude or get rid of spaceships? Or you know, do flat earthers believe in UFOs, or they can't come through the glass dome? I mean, okay, but to the point though, there's too many other things of reality. Let's just stick with the spiritual side. Let's just stick with being good neighbors and good chums to one another and service to others instead of being so narcissistic and selfish. If we start being kind to one another more often and quit this stupid BS, okay. But it's like, all right, you guys want to argue about this. The galactics are going, and you wonder why we won't come down and land on your planet. Are you serious? You people are arguing over the dumbest stuff. Cut it out already. You want to be, intelligent human beings? Then stop with this mess, And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I go through chats and I've got, I don't know, golly, I don't know, like 800 different channels that I monitor almost every day, just to see what's going on in the world, on the planet, in different areas and stuff, and news sites and this. I do a lot of scrounging, looking and digging, diving, swimming in the mess, But what I see is that everybody's just they're more enamored with the crap. Now, it's something like politics. Well, it's important. Pick a candidate, go vote for them. That's important. But should we sit here and, oh my God, tweeting every 10 minutes about something, something? Our minds are in the wrong frequency. We're being distracted from the big picture. The big picture is us moving to this next. This next step is the transition. We are transitioning out of this old crap into the new. Now, is it any kind of new religion? No, it's no religion. Is it a cult? No, it is no cult. We are all galactic beings. We are all angels. We're just going home, if you will. We're going to understand what home means in the universe. So, I hope that has made a little bit of sense. And goats climb high. I was in the Badlands. Wait, no, it wasn't the Badlands. Nope, 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 nope. It was in South Dakota. Wait a minute. South Dakota is in the Badlands, isn't it? Actually, it was north of the Badlands. There is and I can't remember the name of it, but there is a valley through there, and it's in western South Dakota. And oh my God, I mean, these are like sheer cliffs, and there are these mountain goats. I don't know how they got there. I mean, I really don't. But they're just like standing on this little nub about this big, and there's this huge goat. I don't even see how they put their hooves on it, but they're like clinging to the side of this mountain. And I mean, as we drove through this canyon, Spearfish Canyon, I think it is. But oh my God, unbelievable the way these goats hang up there on the side of these mountains. It's like, you guys, and here's the thing, they don't know they can't do it. I look in the past. There was a shaman person who gave me a little bit of a topic to think about. Okay, and it was like, okay, we think height, width, and depth. Okay. And we think in terms of walking upright. Now, what does a an ant think when it's walking upside down on your ceiling, or when it's on a branch and it walks around the branch like this? Does it know that it's upside down? Does it know that it can't walk upside down? Does it care? And it's like, well, wait a minute now. So, one of the first things we need to understand in this new dimensional paradigm, we've been taught we can't do any of this stuff, that it's not real, and therefore, so how can a mountain goat walk up this steep cliff face and stand on this tiny little rock the size of my hand? And I am not lying about that, because I was like, he don't know he can't do it. He don't know. Nobody told him he couldn't climb that cliff or stand on that rock. So therefore, he just did it. Oh, okay. Does it look like, I mean, they got big old hoofy kind of things. It's not like they got these paws with, like spiders or something that can cling to the walls. No, they're like horses' hooves, for goodness sake. I just don't get it. But they don't know that they can't do it. It's like the bumblebee thing. Nobody told the bumblebee he was too big and fat and his wings were too small to fly. He does it anyway because nobody told him he couldn't. Okay? We have been taught as human beings that we're just stupid human beings and we don't have any other kind of gifts, powers, or whatever. So therefore, we can't do it. We don't see it. We don't understand it. It's like, wait a minute, but we're all bumblebees, really, in the grand scheme of things. But because we have been processed, programmed, processed, and otherwise, I can't use telepathy to chat with my grandmother. Well, we used to do it all the time, but nobody said we could, and those who we tried to discuss it with went, shh, you can't do that shit. It's like, well, okay. But we did it anyway. Me and my grandma, absolutely. So it's like, well, wait a minute. So when you realize you can do something, but everybody else says, no, it's not possible, I end up being the crazy sumbitch in the group, or you or other people. But to the point, though, is like, wait a minute, we're the crazy ones. Wait a minute, the veil has lifted from us. Wait a minute, hang on. I do understand I can do this. I do understand it in certain ways. I can manifest things. I do understand. I understand the principles. I understand about astral projection. I understand about dream walking and so forth. I understand about higher meditation with trees and using crystals and rocks and things. Well, I understand that. Okay. So what's the big leap here? That we are transitioning into another phase of reality. Is that such a great leap in the scheme of things? But to some folks it is. They got to start out with the baby steps, which is gonna kind of put them in the category of the New Agers, okay? Because they're gonna have to understand these fundamental things. However, they ain't got time for the BS, if you follow what I'm saying here, because there isn't going to be enough time on this planet for them to go through all. They can't go through the 66 years I've been through. So I'm here to try to give you the Cliff's Notes on some of this stuff. Pay attention to this particular thing and see where it heads you. Forget about all this other crap on the side, because they really are trying to distract you from reality. Stick to the game plan. The game plan is to get your frequency up. The game plan is, the game plan is to go through this transition. Okay? It's to learn this new job. It's to learn how to communicate with your brothers and sisters in your family with a thought, and get there immediately without any typing or a Skype or anything. Okay. A lot of us already know that is possible. Can we control it? Absolutely. That's part of this training. That's part of the transition. Well, in part of this learning, if everybody all of a sudden, quote, ascends and makes the jump, everybody's going to be reading each other's minds, and it's going to be nothing but frickin' chaos. So there are those of us who've had some experience in this. We might be at the head of the class in that we've had a little bit of experience. We're not freaked out with the idea, and it's going to be easier for us to make transition in this area. I'm not saying, yanked into the fourth, but to the point of just understanding that we can communicate with telepathy. So it's like, okay, well, but if you say, nah, that's bullshit, well, then you got a long way to go. But for those of us who understand it, believe it, maybe you've not practiced it, but you understand it. It's like, I can't wait for somebody to show me how to do this. You're going to be closer at the head of the line in this particular classroom, okay? In that you'll be able then to go back and teach your relatives, your friends, neighbors, and whoever else wants to learn how to communicate telepathically, okay? So that's just one area, but manifestation of other things and etc. Self-healing, for example. All right. Okay. The list goes on. But to the point, though, let's just start with something that we can all have a discussion on, and that's telepathy. So could everybody just automatically jump into the scheme of things with telepathy? Folks would be like invading other folks' mind. Oh my God, he's thinking about me and my panties. Wait a minute, or whatever. Kinky, weird, or just plain out stupid. Stay out of my head. We need to learn these protocols. This is part of our transition. Okay. Oh my God, I can hear somebody else's thoughts. How to recognize who it is. Ding dong, it's Dave, or Hawkeye, oh, hey, Hawkeye, well, I'm busy right now. Call back later. Okay, fine. But we have to learn these things. We have to understand them. We can send a note to somebody with just a blink of the eye and go, okay, Dave, I want you to hear this, bink, or call me when you can, bink, and send that jolt of information. And I guarantee it, because many of us have tried this with each other. And sure enough, it feels like somebody hit you upside the head and go, oh, crap, Dave just called. Oh, I'll call him in a minute. Sure enough. Yeah, I sent you a message, telepathically about 5 minutes ago. It's you, boy, you called back quick, Sure. Try it amongst your friends. These are simple things, but this is part of the schooling that's going to be taking place with folks. We can't just jump into it. Everybody can't just be there and expect to whoa, here we go. Oh, crap. I can hear my aunt thinking she thinks my underwear stink, whatever it is, But to the point, though. So it's a transition, not an ascension. Understand that, okay? Because we're not going to jump into it. We got to wade into these waters and learn how to paddle. We got to learn what's underneath that we can't see. We got to feel around with our feet, if you will, on the bottom, make sure we don't step in a hole. Or, an octopus come out of the lake and swallow us whole. I'm kidding. But to the point, though, it's like, but these are the things that's part of this transition. In our brains, we will be ascending in our thoughts. But will we ascend as a lot of people like rapture kind of deal? No. So understand that. Understand these basic concepts. Understand that we can get there without a lot of frivolity, a lot of, do you need to go join the Catholic Church? No. Do you need to go join any church? No. Do you need to, practice any particular type of ceremony? Maybe, if you need to help focus with meditation or something, but no, seriously, we only need ourselves. And that's going to be the big lesson people are going to freak out on. I spent the last year trying to not be in a, quote, ceremonial kind of mode. I wanted to find out what this new paradigm, this new thought process and so forth. Now, I still light a candle, but I haven't gone outside and made a big fire in a while. And I was asked to sit still for a little while because I needed to understand that there were certain realms I could reach without having to do a full ceremony. I already had the knowledge. I've already had that ceremony. And that all I had to do was go back to that thought of a ceremony of a particular one, and focus on that light, focus on the fire, focus on the drum, and I was already there again because time is relative. So in these crossings and twistings of the timelines and of the different changes and so forth, In reality, I've already said that prayer in a ceremony. So all I have to do is bring that ceremony that has already transpired into the now. Guess what? That's manifesting things, okay? Which is part of this new transition, okay? It's going to be different, all right? I hope any of this is making sense, all right? I'm going to light my cigarette finally. Y'all pick on me. I love it. I love it to death. I do. I do. I do. Uh, the destruction of industrial communism. Yeah. Well, it's just not going to be necessary. Uh, Sherry D, hello. Stars go while we rotate around, keeping all things. Yep. While my mother was alive and I was younger, I would call her and she would say she was just going to call me. Yep. Sherry D, I understand. I'm pondering on something. Maybe if I protect it through to Dave telepathically, he might receive it as a feeling and be impulsed to talk about it in his live chat, and I'd be confirmed he received it because he answered it without knowing, but knows the thought wasn't of his till he gets familiar with my aura like a phone number. That's exactly true, because there are times when I'm getting messages in. It's like I'm getting it, but I don't know who it is. Now, because my grandmother and I had such a strong connection, I knew it was her calling, if you will. And there are other people that I've had that close relationship with, deep friends for years and years, and we may not have actually sat down and discussed things telepathically or the idea of it, but that we do understand the feelings and emotions. So it's like, wow, I was really thinking about you the other day. And my Aunt Shirley, for example, is in her 80s, might go, oh yeah, you crossed my mind too. Close enough. And it's like, even though my Aunt Shirley would not be interested in this, it was her mother that I used to communicate with more on a regular basis, telepathically. But to the point, though, her daughter has it, just doesn't know. So, but well, I was thinking about you the other day and mean it, not come up with some hokey crap. So, but to your point, Marie, yes, there is this distinction of like, okay, who's calling or who is that message from? Is this like a galactic message, or is this a message from a friend or an associate or whatever? Or is it maybe like a cry for help just out there in the quantum reality in that radio station thingy? Okay. So I don't know. But to the point though, Marie, absolutely. There might be a thought. Somebody sent me a thought. I didn't know who it was from, but when we did a live Google Hangout between the two of us, it was like, oh, you're the one I got that from. Oh, okay, I got it. And it was like, as I was speaking, and she was like, but that's what I was thinking. Okay, gotcha. So, but there is this connection. It's like you got to make the connection first. Okay, somehow. I mean, I'm thinking, cigarette time. Having someone that I've never met personally, like you, for example, Marie in the chat, all you folks, actually, Sherry D, everybody, in that you send off a certain vibration in your chat, and I'm picking that up. But at the same time, I don't know which one of you might be sending me a thought. Actually, all of you are sending me thoughts. So it's a little jumbled for me, if you will, in that, okay, what was that thought for me or whatever? Okay. So it's like, but at the same time, and this is new to me, because usually I have to do a face to face with somebody. I got to see their eyes. I have to hear their voice so that when the thought is sent, I have something to attach it with versus a written line in a chat room. Okay. So there have been other people that I've had a Google Hangout with, for example, just on a personal without being live streamed or whatever, but we're just sitting here chatting. And now I'm picking up like That seems like a thought from such and such. Oh, right or wrong. And then I go check my Google Hangouts. They sent a message this morning. Oh, that was interesting. So I can say, well, yeah. But now I haven't been able, up to this point, been able to pick something out of a chat because I don't have this other information for me personally. That eye contact, the voice, to me is like, if I ever, if I hear your voice, it's like, I know who you are. Something about me and voices. I mean, back in the day, uh, you know, my hero was the guy that did all the voices, Mel Blanc, for all of the Bugs Bunny cartoons and the Roadrunner and all that, Yosemite Sam, A lot of people don't understand that Mel Blanc used to have his own radio program back in the day. He was one funny SOB. I mean, besides all the voices he did on the cartoons and so forth, he did a lot of radio voices and things. But anyway, Mel was one of my big time heroes because of what he could do with his voice. So I could tell, though, when somebody else tried to do a Bugs Bunny, it wasn't Mel Blanc. It was his son doing it, who took over the reins for Mel. And so, it was close, but no pickle. And a lot of other people, oh, no, that's the Mel. I'm saying, that wasn't Mel. That's his son. Sounds a lot like him. But because Mel had an older, crankier, because he'd been doing voices for so many years, there was a timbre in his voice I could recognize when other people were like, well, you're just crazy, Dave. And then they found out later, and I go, see, it's his son. But anyway, I digress on that. But to the point, though, if anyone wants to have a live stream with me and you want to have this experiment, and I've done this experiment with a lot of people over the years, not only with a telepathic type message, but also there are several people who we did astral projection. Okay. And so we would choose a specific pattern or scenario, if you will. Okay, I'm going to be here. I'm going to, blah, blah, blah. And then so you try to make contact with that person on the astral plane. And I've got some stories on that y'all just would not believe. Freaked this chick out big time. And this was like back in the 70s. But to the point, though, she saw me astral project to the radio station where we both worked. She used to fall asleep at about 12 o'clock and didn't do the weather report and didn't do the time anyway. So, but we proved to each other that, yeah, it works. And yes, it does. But we had to set up a parameter first. We had to set up like the experiment. Okay. And then with that, we worked within those parameters and were very successful, I might add. It just uncanny what Miss Thela and I had way back when. I still often think of her and wonder where she went on her spiritual journey and telepathic, etc. Journey. But anyway, so for me, contact on a hangout, and like I've already stated, I don't want to repeat it again, but that gives me that little personal touch, I guess, with the other person where I can make that connection and go, that's their signal, that's their voice, that's you, okay, versus picking a voice out of a crowd that you're not sure you've ever heard before. Does that make sense? Okay. Alrighty, so let me finish up with these. To talk about it okay, I did that one. Isn't it acknowledged that you always had the power to connect, like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz? Ceremony versus doing without ceremony. Sherry D, you're absolutely right. And I have been through the shaman training. I mean, first off, you meditate and fast for a day. And then you go into a sweat lodge for a good sweat. And then you pretty much kind of sort of fast the next day. And then you do a ceremony. I mean, the cleansing is unbelievable that you go through just to have the ceremony, to put yourself in that frame of mind. And in this last year, that's what I have been taught. Remember all those ceremonies you did? Yeah, you can get there like that now. Oh, holy crap. what a big an awareness it was for me. I'm going to think about something later and send it through a projection. Dorothy had to take a journey first. Yeah, well, she did, to realize that, there's no place like home. And what is home to each of us, I mean, and what I'm finding out, and I had to battle with loneliness a lot, being down here as a hermit, but it wasn't self-imposed. It was imposed upon me when I didn't really want to. I didn't really want to have this much seclusion. But then I realized, oh, holy crap, I had to have this much seclusion. I had to be this quiet in order for me to learn all of the lessons that were being shown to me. I had to go through 50 years of stuff and say, wait a minute, here's the shortcut to this. Oh my God, the Galactics are telling me, yeah, that's the shortcut. Yeah, at least explain it to folks and let them make up their own mind. Okay. So, but anyway, I don't necessarily have the message, but I feel the connection at my crown. It was within her dream. As you mentioned my name, I felt my connection at my crown. I just feel it. It's like in here somewhere. Some people feel it in a particular area of their head. I've had too much brain trauma and severe head concussions that it just is. It either shows up in here somewhere or it doesn't. There's a plane of reality that seems to be somewhere about here. I mean, I can almost feel it. Now, is it left side, right side? I don't know. It's just about here. Is it, in relationship to up, down, or whatever. It's about here. That's the best way I can describe it. Well, look, this old man has to take care of business, okay? And the fact that it's 4:24 in the morning here, Eastern Daylight Time. I'm going to go outside and see if I can see any stars. So I hope this was of interest to you. I love you, Sherry D, Marie. Let me scroll back up here to Quartz Quantum, to Tinfoil, to Stephen Kennedy. To all you folks, if I missed anybody, I'm sorry. But I love you all. I do. And I think that I'm in here. I've learned this, and it is my responsibility to try to pass it on and to help other people to understand it. And it's like, it's a really big sin in my world to not say something, whether you agree with me or not, that's okay, but now's not the time to be fighting over things. Quit quibbling over the small stuff and look at where we need to go. That's the important thing. So I send love and light to every one of you. I send my blessings, my honor, all the love I can muster for this little old hippie down here in Southwest Georgia. So love and light to all of you. Pass the peace around. Remember, it's not for us to judge. If we're judging each other about what we do know or don't know, or you're a butthole and I ain't, or whatever the subject might be, understand that that's just the side dressing. We need to just quit all the frivolous stuff and get to the heart of the matter. Okay. So I've said that enough. I know. Repeating myself again. Time to shut up. Besides that, I have to go to the men's room. So I love you all. Many good wishes and blessings. So from my heart, soul, and soul heart to yours, all the love I can muster and all the positive thoughts I can. Be the blessings that you wish to be and send